What's up, guys? In this video we're going to be taking a look at how to convert improper fractions to mixed fractions and how to convert mixed fractions to improper fractions. So how to convert both of them into each other and yeah, so let's get into it. So if you already don't know, improper fractions is where the numerator is greater than the denominator, unlike a proper fraction where the numerator is less than the denominator. So think of it as the bottom is greater than the bottom is less than the top. That's what improper fractions is. And mixed number fractions, you will have a whole number. You will have a whole number plus a proper fraction. So a whole number plus a proper fraction. So proper fraction is the opposite of improper. So you know numerator is less than the denominator. And whole number. So you have a whole number plus proper fraction. So that is mixed fraction, and improper fraction is the bottom. The bottom is less than the top, but the numerator is greater than the denominator. So this is what improper fractions and mixed fractions are. We will now take a look at how to convert them. So let's start from improper fractions to mixed fractions. So we will use the example we have here. So 5 over 4. This is an improper fraction because 5 is greater than 4. So how do we convert this into a mixed number fraction? So we are going to use our long division method. So what goes here? So here would be the quotient. So quotient is the result of a division problem, and here would be the dividend. Not the dividend in stocks, if you know what I mean, but the dividend is the number that you are dividing the number in here by. And here, this is the dividend, the number that you are going to divide it, the number that you're trying to divide. Here is the divisor. Sorry about that confusion. So here is the dividend, here is the divisor. Divisor is the number you're trying to divide that big number here by, and the dividend is the actual number you're trying to divide. So, and here quotient is the result. So we'll tell you, so what do we put in our dividend? The numerator goes into the dividend. So the numerator goes into the dividend. So think about it. The numerator goes into the dividend. Numerator goes into the dividend. So keep that in mind. Or the dividend is the number that you're trying to divide it by, whatever the divisor is. So if you probably already noticed, the divisor would be the denominator. So try to think divisor is a denominator when you're converting improper fractions to mixed. Okay, so now we have to see 5 divided by 4. So how many times? So we have everything we need. Quotient is our result. So how many times does 4 go into 5? Is basically what we're trying to figure out. So if you know your multiples of 4, you know that 4 times 1 gives you 4, and 4 times 2 gives you 8. So you know that 5 is in between 4 and 8. But how many times can 4 actually go into 5? Only once. So we know that 1 is our answer. So we do what we do in all long division division problems. 4 times 1, 4. So then we subtract here. 5 minus 4, 1. And then how many times can 4 go into 1? Since the number is smaller than what we have, since the number here is smaller than our divisor, it would be considered as a remainder. So if the number here is smaller than your divisor, okay, then it would be considered as a remainder. So 1, remainder 1. Okay, see how that came here? So what does this have to do with mixed fractions? So you'll see right here. So mixed fractions, you will have a whole number here. You will have a whole number whole number and a proper fraction beside it, combined. That is why it is called the mixed fraction. It's mixed between it's mixed with a whole number and a proper fraction. So what would be our proper fraction? So always the denominator stays the same for when you're converting both. You'll know what I mean once we do the other way. So 4 is the denominator always. 4, not the denominator always. The denominator for whatever fraction you're trying to compare stays the same. See, 4 stays the same. So now we think there should be a whole number here, and so our quotient will end up being the whole number. So what our result for that division problem will end up being the whole number for the quotient will end up being our whole number for our mixed fraction. Okay, so what goes here? Whatever is remaining. So we know, so 5 over 4, so 4 goes into 5 once. Oh, get it? And then we have a remainder of 1. That's how it works. So basically that's why we had to use long division to figure out how this improper fraction, to convert this improper fraction of 5 over 4 to 1 1/4. So to recap, improper fractions. So you have an improper fraction when the numerator is greater than the denominator. So once you do that, you do a long, like how you do in a long division problem. You put your dividend would be your numerator, your divisor would be your denominator. So divisor, yeah, so 5, 4, and then you'd see how many times does your divisor go into your dividend. So 4, how many times does it go into 5? We know our knowledge of multiplication and all that. So 4 goes into 5 once, because 4 times 2 would be 8, and 8 is greater than 5. So 4 times 1, 4, so we subtract, like how we do all our long division or just division problems. So 5 minus 4 is 1. So if the number here is smaller than our divisor, it would automatically be considered as a remainder. If it wasn't, then we would have to divide it again. We'd have to see how many times does our divisor go into it, and then continue it till we get a number of 0 or a number that is smaller than the divisor itself. So we see what our remainder is. Our remainder is 1. So now we just have to plug it in, all the numbers we got here. So the denominator of the improper fraction stays the same no matter what. The denominator stays the same, 4 or whatever, even if it's 5, it would stay the same. Denominator stays the same. And then we have our quotient. So the denominator is a part of the proper fraction in the mixed fractions. And then our whole number would be a quotient, whatever the result was. Because the other one was the remainder. So the actual quotient is 1, remainder 1. So the actual whole number quotient would be our whole number in the mixed fraction. And then the numerator for our proper fraction, would be the remainder. So just a matter of knowing how to divide, and then knowing where to plug which result or which number where. So plugging your denominator of this stays the same, plugging your remainder in your numerator of the proper fraction, and just plugging your whole number that you get as your quotient in the whole number you get as your quotient in the whole number part of the mixed fractions. So that is how you that is how you convert improper fractions to mixed fractions. So how do we do the opposite? So opposite, I find, is much quicker to do. I'll just erase it for you so we have more space. Hope all of you got this. So how do we get from here to here? See how the denominator stays the same? So the denominator, the proper fraction, and the improper fraction later after it's been converted stays the same. So keep that in mind. So how do we do it? Simple. Just maybe a two-step process. So our denominator of the proper fraction in the mixed fraction, you will multiply it with your whole number quotient. So now we're doing the opposite. And then add. So we're going to multiply our denominator. So think of this cycle. You multiply your denominator bottom here, here. So you multiply your denominator by that whole number in the mixed fraction. Then you take that number and you add. So that number stays here, but you just take that number 4 because the denominator still remains the same. So you take that number 4, you multiply it by 1, then you add it by 1. So you get a new numerator, and then numerator over denominator. So 4 times 1, 4. 4 plus 1, 5. So 5 over 4, and that is what we had earlier. So it is safe to say that 5 over 4 and 1/4 are equal. So this is how we convert improper fractions to mixed fractions. I hope you guys understood it by watching this video. So thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll leave all the other videos about fractions in the description below so you guys can check them out. Thank you very much for watching this video, and we'll see each other in another one.